Hey YouTube, welcome to development progress video number 15 for in Exilium. Um, I've been pretty busy the past month. I've gotten a lot of stuff done. A lot of the stuff has to do with kind of production value level things. I've played through the game multiple times from front to end. The campaign is now complete, so you can play through the game and beat the game from front to end. I still have to play through it a couple times to kind of balance everything out, but after I am done with these playthroughs, I'm probably going to open up some sort of closed beta. So stay tuned, and I'll let you know how you can kind of get in touch with me and if you want to play the game. All right, so let's dive right into what's changed. So first off, show off the options menu. So before, I just had the volume slider, the most simple options menu ever, and still it is not that much more robust, but it does provide you some basic screen options here that I think completely encapsulate all the necessary screen requirements that you will need when playing a game, especially like this. You have your resolution that you can set. It supports any resolution that your monitor can handle. You can toggle full screen on and off, and then you can set kind of the more detailed video settings. I just put fast is fast, simple, good, beautiful, fantastic. That kind of sticks with the Unity options that Unity provides natively. I opted to do this as opposed to provide super in-depth video options, even though that seems to be becoming more and more standard in indie games. Just because I think this level of detail is perfectly fine for this game. How fine you set your all the kind of specific video settings, like your anti-aliasing or anything like that. Like, I don't know, I think that's just a little too in depth for the experience of this game. I want it to be pretty minimalistic and pretty straightforward, so that's kind of, I guess, reflected in the options here. All right, let's dive right in. We'll load our level 100 character here. You'll notice too that the kind of panel here for the campaign has been filled out. This will just kind of show your progress and some stats for the multiplayer battlegrounds, and then some achievements. Multiplayer is still not implemented, but that is next on the agenda too. Once I'll talk about that a little later. All right, let's dive into the campaign. Okay, so like I briefly mentioned before, the changes that I've made the past month have been mostly, there have been quite a few. There's been a substantial number of changes that have gone in, but they're mostly production value based. So the first thing I'll show off is everything now kind of has these blob shadows. Now I could have gone for super realistic shadows and everything like that. I tried it out, and I tried a lot of post-processing Unity image effects, but they put a huge strain on the system, and like I mentioned before, kind of minimalism and is key, and just trying to make it be able to run on all systems at all times, and just kind of, I know maybe some people may like to just really play with all their video settings and getting it to look perfect, but I think that just kind of the simple aesthetic and the minimal settings kind of help with the gameplay, actually, because this game is rather minimalistic by nature, and I think this kind of reinforces that design decision. So I don't want to, I know it might sound like a cop-out as to why I don't have all the crazy options. I just don't want to implement them or something like that. And honestly, that's partially it, but partially I think it kind of complements the design of the game as well. So there's both there. Anyway, so yeah, instead of deep complex shadows or realistic shadows, I put just kind of blob shadows around everything that's relevant. All enemies and characters have it. This adds a nice kind of little depth. You know, you can kind of see that the characters and enemies are on the ground now. The next thing is I added indicators to all objects that can be interacted with. So you'll see this sign here has kind of a yellow glow on the ground around it, and there's some sparkles. Same thing with the chest here and the crafting table here. So anything that you can walk up to and interact with will have something kind of sparkly to indicate it. The reason why I did this is later on in the game, there is a portion where there are some items or some objects that I would like the player to walk up to and interact with. However, it might not have been obvious unless I had some sort of indicator. Once again, this game's pretty minimalistic, and I try to not handhold the player as literally as much as possible. But this was something I just had to do because I felt like it would just be way too easy to run past some things that could be important later on. All right, so let's go down into the dungeon here for the rest. All right, so there are some maps that are underground or that are in dark places and caves or just kind of have a dark atmosphere. And in these situations now, the ambient light is really down. The directional light in the map is quite low, and there's this kind of spotlight around the player now to give a feeling of him being in kind of a dark, mysterious place. I think it adds a pretty cool effect to these maps that are kind of darker and more kind of in an underground area. All right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about here, I'm going to have to get my health down a little bit. One of the things I noticed when I was playing through the campaign, I've played through the campaign once so far, and I had about 4 pages of notes that I needed to fix, and so I'm going to be playing through it quite a bit again, and I'm sure I'll have a lot more. But one of the things I noticed is that I would get into a combat type situation, and my health would get down pretty low, and I'd finally kind of defeat all the enemies. But then, before I'd move on, I wouldn't want to move on until my health and my energy and everything replenished back to its kind of full health. And so your health and your energy replenish based on your stats here, your vitality, and if you have equipment that increases those attributes. But I was noticing that I would just sit there and stand and wait for a long time until my health regenerated, and that was kind of a problem. So I implemented a feature here that if you're not near any enemies, let's just try to break away here for a sec, not near any enemies, and you stand still for something like 10 seconds. So that was just my normal HP regeneration there, but if I stand still for 10 seconds and I don't move and no enemies come, then my health, there we go, is just going to skyrocket back up to full. So I can move on quicker than I would have been able to before. And the same thing applies to energy. If your energy's down low and you stand still for a while, it'll replenish really quickly too. And so that will just kind of help, not like having the player kind of stand around and wait for forever if you know their health is down and they don't want to move on because they don't want to die. I guess it's prompt or a good time to note that there's no penalty for dying. If you die, you just return back to the camp, that first map that I showed off in this video. I left this earlier. And there's no real penalty, so it's not a big deal, but like you don't want to die because it just takes a little time to get back to where you are and stuff. Alright, so next thing I'm going to show off is the tab swap here. Best way to show that off is to give myself a bow here, do some little hackery to create an item and give myself a bow. Okay, so in the character menu here, in the inventory menu, sorry, there are 2 slots over here that are for tabs, and that's the tab between equipment. So if I want to put this bow in there and tab over, it unequips the 2 items that I had, and I can kind of run away and use a bow now to attack and deal damage to these guys. And then when they get close, I can swap back, however you want. It definitely helps in combat situations. There are many situations where you want to kind of break away and swap weapons. It is especially helpful if you have skills down here that require different equipment to cast. So there are basically skills that you have to have a bow, skills that you have to have a melee weapon, and skills that you have to have a staff equipped. And based on what skill you want to use, you can just tab swap into some item that will help you get there quicker. Alright, next thing is I've implemented rare items as well. So these are legendary items, and these items are really powerful, strong items. I'm actually wearing some right now. They're all items with these kind of orangish gold titles. So this items that I'm wearing right now are this armor set. The Titan armor is just a really powerful armor set. The defense is way up, but I'll show off 2 there. I think I have about 10 rare items in the game, 2 are legendary rare items. 2 of them in here I'm going to show off. So Excalibur is one, and Mirror Shield is the other. So Excalibur casts lightning with your swing, and the Mirror Shield reflects 30% of incoming damage to nearby enemies. So I should heal up here a little bit so I can show this off. Okay, so the lightning, or the Excalibur, there we go, it's casting lightning with everything. And then if I just stand still, you notice when they all attack me, all enemies around me are getting hit too, because it's dealing 30% of what they deal to me to all of the enemies around. So the combination of these two is pretty dang strong. And yeah, there's a few other cool. Okay, yeah, I was thinking about showing off. Got some loot. Thinking about showing off some of the other rare items, but I think I'll keep that for another time, or like leave that for player discovery. Okay, so last thing I kind of want to show off from a technical standpoint is I just added tooltips here. So in the map now, if you map over or you mouse over a map that you're in, it'll show kind of where you're at. Only maps that you visited, so you can just kind of get your bearings. So this was the camp when we were in before, and then you'll go up and you'll explore all these maps over here. But let's say you're back in the camp, you just kind of want to see where things are. At least you can just kind of mouse over them and see where the maps are. All right. Now the final thing I'm going to show off is the end game here. So this secret little spot here, complete spoiler kind of thing here, I guess. But it's pretty intuitive. I'm sure anybody playing the game would figure out what this is all about. So when you defeat the game, after you complete the campaign, you're able to come down here and unlock or open this new kind of world here. Now this new world is a kind of challenge area inspired almost completely from games like Spelunky and The Binding of Isaac. So it's called Infernus or Infernus, and it's a randomly generated world, basically, or sequence of maps that you have to kind of fight your way through. And there's random kind of loot and some cool like secret things and some enemy bosses, and then you get to the end and there's another kind of final boss area. So this is the end game. I put in so you can actually type in a string that will seed the map for you. So if you want to play this with somebody else, or you want to play the same one, like I can type in seed 1, or I can type in whatever, like silly pants, I don't know, enter, and it will, based on that string, generate a random level for you that will be the same every time you play that, or anytime you enter that string. So you and your friends or whoever can play the same ones if you want, or just enter in a random string if that's what you desire, and kind of play a random map. And so here's a situation here where you kind of get locked in an area and you have to defeat all the enemies to get out, and you just kind of work your way to the end of each level. There are many levels and some secrets and some kind of cool stuff hidden in and out, or throughout, and that's basically it. I think that's all I'm going to show off for gameplay. So that's what I've been working on the past month. For the next update, actually what I'm going to be spending a lot of time working on this next kind of probably couple weeks is I'm going to be cutting together a trailer, and after that I'm going to be working on multiplayer, and after that the game is going to be done. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to have a beta probably in like a month too. I'm going to come out with the trailer, play through the game a couple times, and while I'm playing through a couple times is when I'll be kind of recording footage for the trailer. Come out with the trailer, start kind of marketing it a little bit, and get some people hopefully to beta test it for me. And while people are beta testing, I'm going to be slaving away over getting the networking working. The battlegrounds, it's basically going to be just like a battle arena. You could think of it almost entirely like a Halo kind of battle arena. Like you're just going to join games and fight against people and hopefully keep track of rank and stuff like that. We'll see. I'll see. It's going to be kind of an endeavor. The framework for multiplayer, peer-to-peer multiplayer within the game is already in place. There's going to need to be quite a bit of fine-tuning, and I'm going to need to write a matchmaking server to kind of get people hooked up and stuff. So that'll be an experience for sure, getting that all working. But anyway, as far as the game goes, that's all I have. So let's go ahead and exit out of here. Next thing I'm going to show just quickly is the websites are now up and running on my website. So here's www.confluxgames.com. This is just kind of the main website. I have a blog on here. The first entry I put in, and it looks like about a month ago, a little less than a month ago, is I talked about the design goals for in Exilium. I can go ahead and go in here. It's kind of a long article, but if you are interested in game design, I think it's worth a good. It's worth a look at. I talk basically about the three kind of main sections of the game. So the narrative, story, and theme, the world, the map and world structure, and combat. And I talk about why I did the decisions I did, why I went for a really kind of minimalistic approach, why I just opted basically out of having like a complex story and things like that. This is just kind of pretty detailed, elaborate discussion on my thoughts during the design process of this game. Like I said, if you're interested in design, give it a read. Let me know what you think. I love talking about game design, so this is definitely a passion of mine. I think I'm going to keep this site or this blog mostly to either really important kind of updates to the game or my kind of musings on game design. So if you're interested in that stuff, feel free to follow through Many channel, and I'll definitely keep you informed. The games page, it just shows the game I'm working on. So right now, just in Exilium. And then about just talks a little bit about me and how to contact me. We'll go back to games here and we'll go to the Exilium website. So here's the Exilium website, still pretty bare bones right now. Give a nice little brief explanation of what the game is and where you can find some more info. And then for the media, there's nothing right now, but as I mentioned, I will be recording video coming up this next week and taking screenshots and all that sort of stuff and coming up with trailers, and I'll be posting a lot of stuff, a lot of kind of media related updates, and hopefully go for a nice little kind of marketing push, that marketing push I've been talking about probably for the last like 5 months, but has never really coagulated because the game was just not in a state where I was comfortable really pushing it. But now that I think I can definitely capture enough footage to create a good trailer and whatnot, I think I'm definitely ready for that. So anyway, that's all I have for this video. Thank you everybody for watching. If you're interested in this project or curious and want to hear more, please feel free to follow me here on YouTube, or follow me on Twitter at ConflixGames, or head to www.conflixgames.com and you can follow me on the blog there, and I have all the links kind of everywhere. So I'll leave some links down below in this video, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.